but you can still use it. What we actually do with our organization is we send teams of youngsters to nightclubs, and they engage in conversations with other youngsters, and it's very easy to talk to them about it. So how do we do this? We have several different kinds of parties in the Netherlands. I will go through them shortly. I'm sure you also have some sort of parties over here, but maybe they're slightly different. We have very large parties which can have up to like 60, 70,000 people actually who do a party, but all of them also have to go back home at some point. We have small time festivals during the summer. We have barn fests. And what happens if you go to one of these parties? Well, there is always a chance that you will actually encounter one of our promotional teams of responsible young drivers. So what is it that we actually do? In the beginning of the party, our teams of youngsters, they will approach the drivers and they will have them commit to driving home in the evening while still being sober, taking care of their passengers if they have them, or at least taking care of themselves and other people who are on the road. And if they are not sober, then in the end it's very important that they take an alternate mode of transport home, such as a bike, which is standing there. And as you might know, the Netherlands is the only country in the world which actually has more bikes than people. So we also have other transport possibilities, sometimes public transport or a taxi, and then we will advise youngsters to take that. But to do the drug testing, we need to actually know, is the person on drugs? So how do we do this? We use a drug test. It's shown on the right-hand side of my presentation. It's actually a non-intrusive test that we use, which means it collects only saliva, so you do not need to draw blood from someone you want to test. And it takes a few minutes for the test to actually work, during which time our promotional team will talk to the youngsters and explain to them what are the different kind of drugs, what do they do, and most importantly, what are the risks related to specific kind of drugs if you were to use them on the road. Because we believe that youngsters are, like all people, in fact responsible, and they want to behave responsibly, but sometimes they just don't know yet why they should not do it. And when they get this information, then they will hopefully act responsibly. So once our team has done the drug test and we are explaining to the youngsters what is going on, most of the time they will react like the picture shown on the top right side of my presentation. They're very positive. Well, this is a picture by day, normally it's in the night, but it shows very clearly that the youngsters are in fact open to the discussion with us. And what we see happening once we do the drug test in the party, that other youngsters are drawn to it, and actively they will start discussing about these subjects, like, so why should you not take drugs on the road? And then they will tell their friends as well. So we reach quite a lot of youngsters when we are visiting a party, but indirect we reach their friends, their families, perhaps their classes as well. So we think this is a very complete way to actually inform as many youngsters as we can on the risks of drugs on the road. At this moment in the Netherlands, it's not the case yet that the police are using these tests, but they are going to in the future. So we are also warning the youngsters that it's not just promotional teams, it's not just awareness, but they will in fact get in trouble if they are using drugs on the road. Because in the Netherlands we might have, how we say, like a soft policy on drugs, that some of it is legal, but we do have a very hard line on using drugs while driving. It's very simple. If a person is to engage in drug driving, they lose their license. There's no tolerance for that. So I think this is a very good thing. So we also explain this to the youngsters. They should really be careful. If they get caught with such a thing, they're in deep trouble. Also, all our teams are always informed about the law and about the effects you would have if you were to be caught with the drugs behind the steering wheel. So, what we say is very simple: don't do drugs and drive. And this was my presentation, so thank you very much for your attention.
42 секунди. Ако искаме да постигнем, което говорим тази програма 2020 година, 380-400 загинали, е необходимо нейната компонента, една от нейните компоненти е икономическата логика. Не вкараме ли цени, го звучи грубо, за пътно-транспортни происшествия и за дръжки, считайте, че само ще си останем с една статистика. Благодаря за внимание.